Logbook entry 15th of June 2022. 11 o'clock in the night. Why the hell am I such a nerd? I spent almost the entire day after working helping out my mom, who was recently hurt, and you know the whole pain that comes with it. I spent the entire day playing Starcraft 2, and it helped me with League. Interesting, right? I'm going to explain you something that is really cool, and that I just found out about League, and how we're all using hotkeys completely wrong. We're sabotaging ourselves, and the reason you're silver is not because of your teammates, it's actually because of your hotkeys. Okay, so let's get into the basic explanation, right? So first of all, the thing that I'm drawing heavily drawing inspiration from is called the core Starcraft 2 layout. Look it up on the internet. There's also going to be a link to a whole doc that explains everything, goes super in depth. If you're interested in that, it's going to be right above my Discord, right? If you're interested, you can also hit me up on the Discord. And this is freaking genius, okay? So what it does is basically it tries to remap your keys and your hotkeys after certain priority lists, okay? And I should probably, for everyone, explain what are hotkeys. Hotkeys are the way you navigate through the game by pressing keys. So when you're playing League of Legends, for example, you can press QWER to cast your abilities, and then you can also press Control Q to level up your abilities. Control is a certain hotkey which is called modifier hotkey. All of this is going to be important later, so this is going to be on the test, okay? So pressing Control and then pressing Q gives you the level up action instead of the normal ability action, right? Pressing Shift and Q, for example, can give you a quick cast indicator, like a little, you know, preview where the ability is going to land. So you really know that you're going to miss your ability because you're fucking bronze. So the thing is this, right? When we are starting out playing League, all right, we start using our Q. Maybe use the ring finger, maybe use the pinky. If you're a real skiller, you use the pinky, by the way. I don't. But if you're, you know, pro player. So you can press Q with your pinky. Now, the second you lock in that Ezreal, this becomes a problem because you use your Q basically all the time because you want to keep the cooldown up, because you want to stack the passive during wave to get wave control to be able to rotate, so on and so forth, right? Now, not everyone is going to have big problems with that, but I personally have problems with that, and that is that, you know, pressing Q with my pinky repeatedly has me, you know, crying in pain after a scary and like high tempo game of League of Legends, and wants me, you know, makes me question my life choices, basically. So what the problem is with that is obviously we're using a finger that is not the best for pressing a key repeatedly to press a key repeatedly. So we can remap that pretty simple. We can just put it onto E or R, because, except you looks playing motherfuckers, no one really spams their R, okay? So you use the finger that has the most spam ability for the ability that has the least spam ability. Why? I don't know. So we kind of can remap that, and that is already a great way to do hotkeys. Now, if you've ever typed with 10 fingers, there is a reason why you start here and not start here, okay? And that is because you can hit more keys if you start in the middle of your keyboard. Crazy, I know. Now, you might say, but Ashen, I don't have LS-style fingers, which can use the pinky to fucking reach enter over here because my hands are so goddamn large. I have, just like you, Trump-as looking motherfucking fingers, okay, and hands that are so small that I can't hit F1 if I'm in the 1-2 row, okay? And I hear you, but we're going to get to that later on. So the problem is, right, we want to hit F1 to F5, or if you think about it for a second, you just put your first ally onto F1, so it's F1 to F4, to switch between the cameras, you know, of your teammates, and you can kind of see what's going on and so on and so forth. I'm not going to explain that to you. LS did 5 years ago. So what we want to do is, if we were to say, okay, let's try FDSA as our new ability keys, right? This gives us the ability to hit these keys very comfortable and these keys very comfortable. And we're going to call this base row, tier 1 row. So the tier 1 row is everything that is adjacent to your base row in keys. And then we're going to call the rest of the area around it, right? That is basically two buttons away, the tier 2 row. Now the tier 2 row is going to have stuff like the shop. So the shop in League of Legends, for example, the shop is something that you're not going to press in the heat of combat. Recall, probably not something that you're going to press in the heat of combat. So for that reason, we can put that as far away from our base row as we need to, so we can still comfortably use it. Obviously, you don't want to put it right on the numpad, but you want to put it, you know, further away. And then stuff like flash and wards and, you know, everything that you use in the heat of combat, you put closer to your keys. And I'm going to show you an exact example of how I did it and how I solved this later in the video, right? So what I want to explain to you is this basic concept, okay? And this is taken from the document of the core. And you have this base home row. Now, what you will notice here is, and we're going to go into that and explain that, what you will see is this is not the left side of the keyboard, motherfucker. What are you talking about, Ashen? Yeah, exactly. That is, if you're a keen observer, you might have noticed that I'm missing a key here. Why am I missing this key? That is so I can use this key, which is Ö in German, to cast my ultimate. This is my Q, this is my W, and this is my E. Why is that? Because I'm playing Ezreal, and if you're playing Cassiopeia, it's the other way around. That's a problem. I still have to fix that. The best idea probably is to put your ultimate onto your pinky always, and then have E and Q, because those usually hold the spammable abilities on your strongest 2 fingers, right? So if we're set up here, we have a key that's right here that we can use, for example, for wards. And we have some other keys, okay? And I'm going to go through the keys in a bit, but we have these modifier keys, right? Because if you want to level up an ability, you need to hit control. Now, usually you would hit control something with here or with your pinky if you're very flexible. I personally am going to use that area for my spacebar, and I'm going to use my thumb to hit control, shift, and alt. Now, I still have a little bit of an issue with the shift key, so I need to think about what exactly I can do with that, or whether or not I even need that. But one really nice thing is, first of all, I flipped the keycaps upside down. Try it, it feels amazing. But what this allows me is I can level up very easily by just pressing my thumb button, right? And then leveling my abilities, just the usual way you do it, right? You press control and then you level your abilities by pressing the corresponding key. But it also allows me to attack move. Attack moving is quite the superpower in League of Legends. If no one has taught you about this, it's about goddamn time. So attack moving, what it does is it allows us to guarantee that we are auto-attacking and not just running into an enemy, right? And there are different ways of auto-attacking and attack moving, but the way I do it personally is that I have 2 modes of attack moving, and I use key, press, and then left click to do it, okay? Now I'm going to jump into a game here real quick, and I'm going to show you the exact way I rebound my keys and the exact way I did everything to show you why I'm in so much love with it. And there's going to be a lot of follow-up with this, and it's probably the way I'm going to play League from now on. But as we jump into the game, I want you to think about how much pain you have caused yourself by trying to press, for example, flash with the same button you pressed ultimate on when playing Lee Sin. Okay, think about that one as we jump into the game. So, welcome. This is my Starcraft. This is my Starcraft layout. We will use that, hence the webcam, and because the webcam is great. So, I haven't rebound the practice tool. That doesn't really matter, right? It's a thing for later on. But here's the thing. I have already played one normal game. This is my low elo account, so, you know. And one ARAM game. Trying to kind of deal with the horrible chaos that I've caused myself and my muscle memory, okay? But here's the thing. If we hit control, we can level up, right? What I did is that if I can hit control, I can also, by pressing the row above my keys, above my home keys, I can already jump to my teammates. Now, the problem is I can't really show you that because it doesn't work on target dummies, okay? But what I've done is that I've remapped these keys. Now, what do I use these keys without control for? Not the camera, obviously. I use it for my items. So if you see, if you look at the items, if I had purchased items here, you would see the different keys that I'm using, and it's basically the row from this key, so I, OP, and then this is going to change for you because these keys are on a German keyboard. They're different than they are on American keyboard. Shouldn't really matter though. So let me show you. My ultimate is on this key. It's Ö. I know it's a pain to pronounce that, but that is the way. I think it's yeah, I'm not sure what it is on American. And then my L key shoots my previous Q ability, and that is because that is the ability that I'm going to spam most when playing Ezreal, Karthus, you know, these champions. Then my E is now on my previous like Q pinky, right? So I press my pinky to jump, and I have flash bound to H. I'm going to explain to you why in a second. And then I have my W position is similar. Obviously it's moved, but it's the same position. I did this initially to make it easier for me to learn and to try this in game, because this way I only have to remember Q and E are switched. That's all I'm remembering when playing, right? Ultimate is still same, and so on and so forth. So now from this point on, we can press control very comfortably, but, and this is why I switched to this camera, I have the side button key, basically. I turned that upside down as well, but the side button key, which is, I have this like little control thing that usually controls your camera. These still do. No, just this one doesn't. But I have this bound to attack move, and what that allows me to do is, if I'm on my base position, right, I can attack move without having to give up any key presses on my basic abilities, which is really good for something like Ezreal, right? Because it allows me to use my E while auto-attacking, right? So while casting and attack moving, it allows me to use my ult. I'm still not used to the layout. It allows me to press my Q, right? It allows me to press my Q while attack moving, and this really gives me like optimal control over my spacing, right? So I can like cast my Q, move into attack range, make sure that I'm, you know, still kind of out of attack range, and I can spam it this way, okay? So this is a really cool setup already, because it allows me to use a thumb that a key that, or a finger that I wasn't previously able to use, right? Because previously pressing spacebar, which was my use for it, isn't really very glorious, right? So right now we're pressing control, and we're pressing my attack move button. using the... I need to switch this. We're pressing the attack move button using the thumb and control. Now we can also press Alt, right? So what I did is I rebound my abilities a little bit, okay? And the idea is that on Alt, I have the indicators now, because I like to use them a lot of the time whenever I'm, for example, I'm in Fog of War. The enemy can't really see me, so it's fine for me to run in a straight line, but I want to make sure that I hit, right? And this helps my brain process where the skill shot is actually going to hit, right? And like, let's say we're trying to ult top lane. I hate locked camera. Being able to have the indicator here is also super useful, right? So that is my alt. Then my alt click, my alt left click is still the pet move, right? And so what we now have is that we have a very interesting setup, which I can use to cast my abilities and attack move without moving my hands. Furthermore, my items are right above it, and if I press Control and my item hotkeys, the cameras are right above it, which the cameras are something that you have to press quite a bit, right? You have to press them quite a lot because you want to know what's going on each lane, right? Constantly, and you have to do it while in combat because that's the thing that matters, right? Let's say you're getting ganked, you have to switch to your jungler real quick, see where he is. So F keys are amazing, and it's great to have them right next to in your tier 1 role. Remember what I explained to you, right next to your home position. Okay, now what I did is I put the ward onto the button right next to my ultimate. I'm going to explain it to you that way because these are German characters. And then I have my recall and my shop close to each other because I'm obviously going to press them close to each other, but they are actually quite far away from my home row, but the recall button is still on the same row with my basic abilities. Now, why is that? That is because I can leave my pinky on my escape button while pressing recall. This was very important to me because that means that, let's say I'm recalling because I'm not sure whether or not an enemy sees me, and then he starts heading to me in a straight line. Motherfucker better get out of here, okay? Now, here's the thing that might be controversial and you might rebind. Flash on H. I put flash on H just because these are close to each other, right? And my pinky only has to press flash approximately every like 7 minutes. You know what I mean? I'm not going to flash off cooldown, obviously, but the cooldown is 5 or a little bit less. 5 minutes. So I'm not going to use that a lot. Now, Ash, you might say, but if I'm ward hopping or if I'm playing Lee Sin, this is problematic because I want to cast my E sometimes and chain that into a flash. And I agree, and this is why I said you might want to rebind it, because you could technically put it onto this key as well. This is my heal, okay? It's my other summoner key. I can hit it with my thumb. You can also put flash onto here, and that gives you the best setup you can imagine for playing something like Lee Sin and comboing every ability with each other, in my opinion, because you can basically use all your abilities except ultimate and the ward. For ultimate and the ward, you have to jump a little bit, okay? But you can use almost every key to combo without using or without moving your hand, which in translation means that it's much more reliable and the combo can be much more fluid without as much practice, right? So it's a great tool. So this is what I use my thumb for, and this is the general layout that I have, right? I'm going to keep you updated as I go, and I'm going to try to do a full climb again back to diamond and then hopefully above this time. I'm going to do that in the next couple of months. So if you're interested in that, you know, hit up my stream, twitch.tv/AschenGD. And I just kind of want you, if you're not really interested in the whole league shebang and you watch through this, congrats. Holy shit, bro. you don't have anything to do in your life. But besides that, I want you to get away with the basic concept of try to reorganize your keys and then use this list of priorities that I talked about, right? So you don't want to press the same button with 2 fingers, or you don't want to press 2 buttons with the same finger in quick succession, right? You want to spread that out a little bit. Then you want the abilities that you use the most on the strongest finger, and you want your home base to be there, right? Your resting hand position. And with the setup that we have right here, we don't really need to use our fingers a lot. We can jump to H, okay? We can maybe jump to G if we want to ward or something, but I rebound this as well. I rebounded to control again. I had turned it off, and I'm still not 100% sure about this whole control thing, because I also want to use control while fighting, right? So I might rebind that, but the general gist of this is that we have everything bound together, and you can still put abilities onto these keys, right? You can have your scoreboard. I think I have my scoreboard on Z. No, I have my scoreboard on one key that is like close to my, oh yeah, I have it on N. So I also hit that with the pinky, because my pinky is going to have a lot of cooldown, right? My pinky isn't going to be used much, and that is good, right? But I figured that putting something like the scoreboard onto that makes a lot of sense. So this is what I want you to take away and kind of tinker around with it. Leave me a comment if you found your own setup, or you think my setup is still not optimal. But I wanted to leave you with this, and I'm going to make a very specific video about this whole thing that is super technical in the a little bit further away future. But for that, I would have to like create the diagrams, and I will still need to do some more reorganizing. And since I just came up with this idea, obviously we're going to have a look at it later on, right? We're going to revisit it, how it worked out for me on the climb and so on, and I'm going to improve on it upon it, and kind of, you know, keep working on this whole hotkey system. But for me right now, just trying it out in one ARAM, one like normal silver elo match, right? I can already tell you it feels so much better to play League that way, and I'm looking forward to the next month playing it in ranked. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you could take something away from this. I appreciate you watching. Stay awesome.